Need to improve your club on Ultimate Team? Check out IGDM for safe and reliable coins with the link in the description. Get an extra 5% discount with code NA. What's good, y'all? For today's custom tactics, what we're going to be doing is the 4-3-2-1. And after the last patch, I figured that we'd do something more innovative this time. Instead of the normal 4-3-2-1s that people usually see that involve, maybe a striker up front with getting behind, stay central, all that stuff, we're doing a lot of different things this time around. And we've basically changed what the 4-3-2-1 normally looks like, and we made it something different for once. So if you're looking for a 4-3-2-1 that wasn't necessarily, it's still going to operate as effectively as the previous meta, but it's going to be something different this time around, so you still get that same result, but it looks different in case you're just getting bored of the previous 4-3-2-1s, or if they just weren't working for you anymore, then these custom tactics are going to be perfect for you. I'd recommend this custom tactic if you have 3 players up front that can operate as efficiently as strikers or wingers. So what I mean is 3 players up front that have, maybe 5-star skill moves if you're really good at utilizing them, have really good dribbling stats to begin with, really good pace and really good shooting, which at this point of the game is really easy to get, which is what makes these custom tactics so good to begin with. And then in midfield you have, a really good CDM, a really good center mid, and then a really good attacking midfielder. But yeah, just to get straight into the custom tactics, we're going to go here. And I have it set to my ultra attacking with defensive style balance, 45 width, 65 depth. I'm starting to realize that defensive width is actually it's honestly personal preference at this point of the game. I've seen some people defend efficiently with literally 30 defending, and I've seen people defend with all the way up to 50. I haven't gone lower than that, I haven't gone higher either. But obviously if you're aware of the benefits and cons to using too narrow of a width and too wide, then you can change this to something that you have in personal preference. And what I mean by that is if you realize that you're not playing against players that tend to utilize their wingers with knocking the ball past your fullbacks, if you're not conceding too many cutbacks, things like that, you can definitely turn up your width a little bit. You can turn it down. But at the same time, if you're conceding too many cutbacks, or you're just going against players that are just managing to outpace your fullbacks and just basically get these counterattacks where they're running down the wing, that's when you can turn up your width. But for these custom tactics, we're going to be using 45. And then 65 depth, the game's cooked. There's no difference in depth, honestly. As long as you're not using 71, which at this point of the game isn't really needed anymore. It was at the start of the year, but it's not, usable anymore. 65 is just a perfect amount, to be honest. Just make sure you're playing something above 60. I don't understand people that play with 50 or more, or 50 or less, I mean. All this does is it gives the other opposing players the space to build up, especially when they get the ball back. Because ironically, your defenders are going to be running away from the ball in defensive transition. So you don't want that. You want, to contain pressure and give yourself a chance to win the ball back. And then build up play balance or chance creation, direct passing. I know I said we're going to be trying something different for once, but for the sake of the 4-3-2-1 and how it operates, direct passing is always going to be the best. That way we're maximizing the amount of immediate runs that occur. And direct passing is normally what you want when you want to play really fast attacking. Despite, fast build-up sounding more self-explanatory, that's not really the case with what we're looking for. We're going to want to use direct passing because that's what we literally want when we look for the term fast build-up. And then the width 44, the issue with the 4-3-2-1 and why you need it to be more wider than, other meta formations is the fact that in build-up it might be harder to find that left striker and right striker, or left forward and right forward. But you also don't want them to be too wide, so, that's just going to make it an issue for once we get to the other team's box. So it can be really difficult to play with this, but for me, I found 44 to be perfect for me. Players in the box 6, corners 3, free kicks 2. Corners and free kicks is completely self-explanatory, but players in the box 6, like I said in another video, I always use players in the box 6. Generally speaking, I build my formations to operate around having 5 attacking players, and then that 6 acts as is for the case where I might attack with a center back or a fullback that normally isn't attacking. I want them to remain in the attack for the remainder of the attack. So although I'm only attacking with 5 players, or entering the box with 5 players, I'm giving myself the option for a 6 to do the same thing basically. And then straight to the player instructions, we're going to start with our front striker right here. Completely default with just stay forward. And this part isn't really explainable just yet because we're going to have to mention the left striker and the right striker before this this player right here makes sense. And for that, we're going to mention the left striker right here who's going to be on target player, stay forward, and then the right striker right here who is also on target player but come back on defense. Now, what's really important about the target player playstyle or player instruction is that the issue with this formation is sometimes if you've played other 4-3-2-1s and you're in situations where you're attacking the other player's box, but you're realizing that you just cannot find any of your 3 forwards open, like that might be just being hugged tight by a center back, which can be really annoying. Target player allows the player to receive a little bit of space in between the center back or fullback and the striker. That way you're able to actually pass to them and you'll actually have space to turn, do an elastico or a step over, speed glitch, and then from there you can unlock the other team's center backs and get in behind for a chance to score. Target player is quite frankly a really underrated player instruction because of that, especially if you're playing games where it just feels like your AI just doesn't exist and you can't find anybody open. This in combination with the direct passing is basically going to help them, once these players are not needed to make runs, or sorry, find distance in between the center back and the forward. That's going to really enable the dynamic runs and have these players running in behind. So just because they're on target player doesn't mean you're not going to see them make runs in behind and things like that. That's why we kind of have the contradicting chance creation, which is direct passing, which enables a lot of direct runs, if that makes sense. Now the comeback on defense being on this player and then stay forward being on the other two is just for the sake of retaining that 4-4-2 shape. So that's really all there is to the stay forward and the comeback on defense. And then this striker right here, simply because we need a striker that complements these two wingers and links up with them whenever these players have the ball to their feet. Since these players are already so close, these left and right strikers or forwards, you're going to want a natural number 9 to be doing their work. And we don't have them on stay central primarily because once this player or this player receives the ball to their feet, we don't want them not complementing this player and then making a diagonal run into this direction because that's going to be away from the goal. But we also don't want them to hug down the middle and just stay there because that might be cut down easy by the center back. So allowing for having balanced width allows the runs to be dynamic. And then from there we're going to our cam. This is a center mid, but we're calling it a cam for the sake of the custom tactics, who's going to be on get forwards, cover wing. Now right here, like I said, you're going to want a cam. Their defensive stats do not matter at all right here. Like literally you can have someone with 40 defending right here, even though it's a center mid. The reason why it doesn't matter is because in defense they're going to be covering the left wing position anyways, so it's not like the defending stats are going to matter that much. But other than that, this player is going to be running that half space in between your left striker and your central striker. And the importance of get forward is to make them more aggressive. So think of your left wing right here as a more aggressive side. And then if you want a more passive side, it can be on the right side, which we'll get to the player instructions in a moment. But this player is also going to be a huge option as well, because once he links up with the left striker, he's going to operate almost as another striker himself, this player right here, which is honestly really useful because this custom tactic will enable multiple different players to get involved and get chances to score themselves. And Messi himself, if you can get a player with finesse shot plus right here, they're going to have so many perfect positions at the edge of the box to just curl one in. So Messi's perfect for this position right here. And then your CDM, stay back while attacking, cover center. This player isn't literally like a straight up CDM. He's more of a kind of like an anchor playmaker from the back. So it's really important that you get really good passing play styles on this player. Since he's going to be so close to your left center mid and your right center mid, you're going to have so many options to distribute. So it's important that you still have a good defender, obviously, because he's going to be playing CDM in defense. But once you get the ball, it's really important that he has really good passing play styles because this guy can really unlock the other team's defense. And then your other center mid right here is going to be on balance attack, cover center. Now the cover center is mostly because he's going to be, or she's going to be holding the right center mid position in that defensive formation or structure. But the balance attack is basically because this player is going to hold the same role as Messi, but it's going to be more dynamic and contextual. And what I mean by that is because we obviously can't have Messi and our right center mid right here, Aitana Bonmati, just bombing the box over and over and over again. But we want this player to be the more unpredictable box-to-box player because you don't always need this player to just crash the box, because then when you can see the ball, you're going to have 5 players in the other team's box. And when that's occurring over and over and over again, your opponent's just going to pick it up and it's going to be too much for you. But having them on balance allows them to make that run in behind when you get the perfect time to do so. So it's really important that you just have a player that has like Gillett type stats, 90 and everything. But I would also prioritize defense over offense just in case. So a card like Valverde, something like that would be perfect for this position. And then your right back right here, stay back while attacking, overlap, primarily because, like I said, this side right here is going to be the more passive side. That way, if you need to retain the ball, play some quick tiki-taka just for the sake of unlocking the other team's defense, you can play it on this side. Your 2 center backs are obviously going to be on stay back while attacking. And then your left back right here is going to be on join the attack, overlap. And like I said, this player is going to act more as not only a cutback option, but just for the sake of this side being the more attacking side. You'll be able to link up with your left striker right here a lot because that target player instruction on that left striker will enable this player right here to not be forced to just do a cutback over and over and over again, but maybe when you're making that run forward, this player, before you even get put in that crossing situation, you can find the left striker pretty easily. But other than that, that's really all there is to this position right here. Just join the attack, overlap. What I really like about these custom tactics is the fact that we were able to basically fix an issue when it came to the 4-3-2-1, where some games it was just completely ineffective for me. And what I mean is sometimes the 4-3-2-1, I mean, to be honest, this formation in general, regardless of the custom tactics, it's a really crutch formation, especially with the combination of direct passing. What I mean by that is the fact that the 4-3-2-1 is so good, and that's primarily the fact that it's one of those formations, which there aren't many formations like this in the game, but it's one of those formations where it makes the game way easier than it needs to. But this comes at the cost where it's making it easier because it's doing a lot of the work for you. The AI is making perfect runs for you. It just makes the game like it's just spoon feeding you the game, if that makes sense. Now, for the most part, this is good because obviously, if it's winning you games, then that's what matters at the end of the day. If you're ever in games where you're just realizing that your AI is just not where it needs to be, your players feel lethargic, the 4-3-2-1, generally speaking, is not that type of formation that will basically give you a chance for all 90 minutes of a match. In other words, it's a formation that's really just carried by its AI, and there's not much a player can do to cause a 4-3-2-1 to perform better than it already does, without talking about things like skill moves and such. And the reason why I really like these custom tactics is because we're kind of able to defy that logic for once. We gave this 4-3-2-1 more power to the player. So it's one of those formations now where if you're a lesser skilled a player, this isn't going to be that custom tactic that will just make you way better than you are. But if you're a better player, what I mean by better, you don't need to be anything crazy. If you can even qualify for weekend league, like this is good enough. But if you're a better player, you'll realize that this might be more responsive to you, if that makes sense. It gives you more control and it gives you more accountability and responsibility, rather than just playing like previous 4-3-2-1s where the game is just playing for you because the AI is just doing all the work for you, and then your mind's just on complete autopilot. The introduction of using target player is so good if you're the type of player that loves utilizing his elasticos and speed step overs and things like that, because being in positions where your left and right striker are always open once you get to the other team's box is infinite potential if you use your skill moves properly. So like I said, if you're a player that loves to utilize flair and skill moves, I'm really confident you can have absolutely no issues with this custom tactics. As for future custom tactics, I'm going to be going over the 4-5-1 second variant soon. That's the last one on my list of formations that I've created, but they just need might need a couple changes. I'm probably going to play the full weekend league up next with them. Make sure they're all good to go because it's a really complicated custom tactic. It's not something that, I can trust to work off the bat. But I'm having a lot of fun with them so far, so I just wanted to wait for weekend league to, stress test. Then after that, I'm probably going to take a look at the 4-2-3-1 post patch. But if there's any other custom tactics you guys want or prioritize over the 4-2-3-1, please let me know in the comments because I'll work on them if that's the case. But other than that, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and that's all.